In addition to outside content providers that you can embed into OneNote or OneNote class notebook, you can also embed many of the features available to you that are within Office 365 itself. So for example, Sway is one of them. So if you or your students use Sway as an interactive presentation tool, they can be embedded directly into OneNote. And Sway is a great tool if you've ever used it before to give the students information about material or whatever that you might be covering in class. So as an example, if I come down to one of my sways that I've already created and I click on it, you do want to make sure that you have the correct settings on this so that the students are going to be able to view it. So right now I'm in the editing version here of this particular sway that I created, and when I come up to share, by default before I changed it, the share your sway with option was on those in your organization with the link. Meaning if I were to embed this with this setting on here, the students wouldn't be able to view the sway from the get-go. They would be prompted to log in with their credentials. So it's another extra step for them to have to go through in order to view the content. So if we change this to anyone with a link, and let's leave it on view only so that nobody else can make changes to it, and then we copy the URL to the sway, and then we come over to OneNote. I'm in my content library again. I've created a blank page and I paste the link. The sway is going to load. And you can click on the sway and you get those little squares in the corner. So if you want to enlarge it, you can enlarge it. And then we can refresh the screen and the students can view the sway directly within their OneNote notebook and get all the material that you may have covered during class. In addition to Sway, you can also embed Microsoft Forms. And if you've used Microsoft Forms before, Forms is an online assessment tool or polling tool. So I'm just going to come back over to my Forms homepage over here. So one thing you do have to be careful with Forms is some of the options that you have available to you in terms of sharing. So let's just take, for example, this parts of a microscope. And in order to get the URL, just like with Sway, I'm going to click over here to share. Now, one thing with Forms that you have to be careful with when you're embedding is normally when you would provide the students with a link to take one of your forms, you would have the option here clicked off only people in my organization, because that will prompt the students to log in with their username and password, which in Forms you want because you want to be able to link the student name with their grade at the end of the form. However, if you leave this option on when you are embedding into Class Notebook, what's going to happen when the students click on this link that you put into OneNote, and I'll just show you here, when I copy this and I create a new page and I paste this, the form loads. However, they are going to get a pop-up that is going to sort of take them out of OneNote. So because it says only people with a link, and now it did pop up automatically because I was already logged in, but normally what happens is they would be prompted to put in their Office 365 credentials, and then they have to take it in this new window, which sort of defeats the purpose of embedding. So to get around this, what you can do, I'm just going to delete this, is we'll come back over to Forms, and if you change this to anyone with a link, like I said, normally you don't want to do this because now it's sort of an anonymous test, but you can alter the test and you can actually add a question above question number 1, a text question, and require the students to type in their name. So that's the way to work around this issue. So if we click on share, anyone with the link can respond. We click copy, we put it now into our blank page in the content library. We can enlarge this if needed, and we hit refresh. Now you can see it's not prompting them for their username and password, and they can actually take this directly within the confines of the notebook. So those are just a couple of examples of Office 365 applications that you can now use right within OneNote.